Hey there, today I'm going to do something I haven't done before, which is try to recover data from an iPhone 12 Pro. This phone was in her pocket when she was on a lawnmower, a zero-turn lawnmower, and then she heard it clunk, fell out of her pocket, and then this happened. Let's zoom in. This is pretty bad. So this is the back of the phone, and she said it was only like a second out of her pocket. Crunch. Oh God, that's a real punch in the gut for that to happen. All right, so let's go ahead and see what extra details she has to tell us in the note. Here is the note. This note is from her husband, Mike, which says, "My wife was mowing her yard on the mower when she felt her cell phone drop out of her pocket." And then they go on to tell us that the phone's got videos, photos, voice recordings, text messages, very sentimental. She has her text messages and photos from her late father, who unexpectedly passed away 2 years prior, along with voice recordings of our daughter from when she was younger, including her first words and, oh God, and other major moments in a daughter's life. My wife, Julie, has been in tears over the possibility. Oh, Julie, let's try to help you. So the good news is that this is really meaningful to these guys, and it says that when they first looked at it, that they think it could still power on. So that's really good news, because they were able to plug it in to the charger, which is really not a good idea when the battery itself, I mean, that can catch you on fire. So they're lucky this phone didn't blow up as it is, but it sounds like the phone had some signs of life. So I'm hoping that we can help them just by taking the logic board, and hopefully the logic board itself, where all of the information is stored, is intact and working, and we can just transfer it into a known good housing. So the first thing I did is I went and bought on eBay a working but iCloud locked, so therefore parts only, iPhone 12 Pro. So this is an iPhone 12 Pro. So what I've got to do is I've got to figure out how to open up this 12 Pro, preserving the screen, because I'll need to enter in Julie's passcode in order to get it to connect to a computer and offload all of that data onto a USB for her. All right, so the first thing that I did is I said, all right, where can I get some information? I've never worked on iPhone 12 Pro before, so I talked to my friend Ricky Baker, who has refurbished a whole lot of cracked 12 Pro screens. So he gave me some tips, and he said that you're definitely going to need to use heat to open up the iPhone 12 Pro. And I think he's right, because when I try it the traditional way, oh, there's glass everywhere. I should probably get some gloves for this one. All right, so when I try it the traditional way, if we look at this, this is the one that I need to save, and I use my standard tool, which is the iPad Rehab warranty voiding tool. Remember, opening your phone does not void your warranty, so this is a joke, right? But still, remember, go support the FTC at ftc.repair.org and tell them to do their job, and enforce the fact that you cannot require people to use your branded repair service, Apple, or your branded parts under Magnus and Moss. But this guy here, the warranty voiding tool, it's too thick. I really can't fit it into this gap. So I tried that initially, and I think that this tool is too thick. So I could sand it down maybe, I don't know, but this is no longer the right tool for the job. So what we're gonna do is use a standard one of these dogs, right? So we're gonna get a standard razor, and we're gonna try to get the razor in between this gap. And I'm gonna do that on some heat. So let's see what that looks like. Where am I gonna get some heat? I'm gonna get some heat from this thing right here, right? So we sell the iPad Rehab, iPad opening heat mat. So this thing, you gotta turn it on, and it has a setting on here for phones and another one for iPad. And I think the phone setting is for, 60 degrees Celsius. So that's what I'm gonna kind of give this a try. So we're gonna just put this mat down. So now I've got a heat mat right here. and I'm going to put the phone down. Here's a pro tip. When we do take the iPad screens off, we've learned that you actually get a better result by putting the back of the phone down rather than having the screen down. So here's the old iPhone 12 Pro, and we're going to let it heat up here and try to take the screen off on heat. Now, I'm no dummy. I'm gonna first learn how to take the screen off on Julie's Lawnmower phone, so that way I can figure out where the flexes are and figure out what I need to worry about. And then I'm gonna do this one second, because this is the one where I really can't damage the screen. So let's put this one to the side here. And now this Julie's phone here, we don't have much choice. I'm gonna go ahead and put it, sort of screen down and let this sit here to kind of get hot. And of course, I'm going to take out the 2 bottom screws. So this has the standard pentalobes, on the 2 bottom screws. And I'm going to store the 2 screws on the iPad Rehab screw management tray. So I've already taken out those on both of these phones. So don't forget to do that. If you don't take out your bottom screws, that's how you break some screens. Don't ask me how I know. Okay, it's been about 4 minutes or so. And let's try to give this a shot. Now this is a little bit tough because it's not flat and even, so it might not be really that hot. All right, so here's what we're gonna give a try. We're gonna use this thing. So everything that I'm using is something that if you don't have, you probably should, and you can pick it up over at store.ipadrehab.com. Let's try, I think even the Magic Glass tool, which I love the Magic Glass, and we use the Magic Glass for getting into, getting under batteries and things like that, but I feel like that's even gonna be too small. So let's see if it will fit. Oh, Magic Glass does fit. Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, Magic Glass for the win. Magic Glass is gonna pop this one right up. All right, so that wasn't terrible. The heat really helps. But again, I'm not trying to preserve anything here. All right, so this is the bottom of the phone, and it's really thin. And let's see, I don't think I have a way to get any more light under here. Like this is as bright as it gets. All right, so we can see some flexes there. So now we're kind of opposite to how every other phone is, right? So every old phone opens up like this, and the flexes are up at the top. And starting with the iPhone 7, they would open up like a book, and the flexes were right here. But now with the iPhone 12 Pro, the flexes are over there. So you gotta pay attention. All right, let's see if we can get this the rest of the way up. All right, so we've got, yeah, that flex is chewed up. All right, so this is what it looks like. We've got thank God, the logic board looks completely unharmed. There's the logic board. It looks really good, and had it been like every other phone, that logic board would have been so chewed up with the CPU is normally right here. This is really looking good for these guys. Okay. All right, now we gotta get this one done. This is the iCloud lock one. And I can't damage the screen because we need the screen and we need it to have touch, because ultimately we're gonna have to enter in Julie's passcode in order to hit trust and to be able to get those precious memories off of this phone and put onto a USB to deliver them for her. All right, so this has still been on here about 3 or 4 minutes. And what did we learn? What did I learn from the Julie phone? I learned that you gotta watch out for 2 different flexes, one here at the bottom, and then this, what looks like the Face ID flex up here at the top. So let's give this a try. Now this one I wanna be sort of even more careful. And on Ricky's advice, he said, he didn't say use the Magic Glass, which I just used. I liked how that worked though, I gotta say. He said to use one of these things, and the way he did it is he put this tool here, and then he applied a little bit, not too much, of 99% isopropyl. Now this stuff is fantastic for any time you're trying to just get that adhesive to become more forgiving and to loosen up a little bit. So I use this anytime I'm doing a battery replacement because it just makes the adhesive relax and then you can just kind of pull it right out. So Ricky is a big fan of that. And what he said that was important is that down here at the bottom is where that all-important flex is for the OLED screen. And if you guys watched, I did that video with Ricky where he kind of showed us a little bit about what goes into refurbishing these screens. You can see that on the channel. And damage to the bottom of the screen can make the whole screen not work anymore. So I'm a little bit nervous because this is a razor and I feel like that's really sharp and it could cut something unintentionally, but we're gonna go with it. So I'm just sort of applying a little bit of pressure and I'm going real slow because I want this screen to kind of pop up out of here. So he said, use the razor to kind of make a gap between the screen and the bottom. Now, if you're changing this screen, I'm not sure what we would be able to have the patience to have 3 or 4 minutes on here, and maybe as time goes by, we'll relax and it will kind of become like, oh, it's no big deal, you can do it real quick. That may well be true. I know when I first got my own personal iPhone 10 that I'm still using today, I did the same kind of process to open it. And now if I have an iPhone 10, I'll just open it just with my fingernails. So I'm not convinced that you always have to do it like this. However, I can feel that screen popped up. Now before I do anything else, I'm gonna just check that screen is still working. All right, so I haven't turned the phone off because I don't really need to turn the phone off. I can have the screen on the entire time that I'm trying to like remove it, and it'll tell me at least where I mess up. All right, so I'm gonna just use my fingers. The old fingernail tool is kind of what I use instead of guitar picks or anything else. So I like to just slide the pro fingernails, like I'm sliding them along this gap all the way around. And that's part of the reason why it's hard for me to wear gloves, because I like to get that. Oh, it says it's getting hot. All right, I think we're done with the hot plate though, so I will pull that to the side. So hot plate, thank you for your service. And we're gonna stick that over there. All right, so now we don't really need it to be hot, but that heat is making this adhesive pretty easy to work with. All right, does it still turn on? Still turns on. And screen is still okay. All right. Aha, yay! Oh, we got the screen up, and now we should be able to open it like a book, like we learned. Ah, there we go. And now I should be able to just go for the screws and get this screen off intact, which is fantastic, and that was our goal. There we go. All right, power down. Now my goal in any of these new ones is always identify where the battery is and disconnect it as fast as possible. So I'm going to be on the hunt for battery. And there it is. So battery, here's the battery, and this is the little battery disconnect. So now I'm safe. All right, so I got this off. So this has this like odd little clip right there that tucks in there. So that's a little bit more difficult than normal, but not so bad. All right, the screen is intact. Yay! All right, so we've done step 1 successfully. Julie, we got a screen. So if your logic board works, we'll be able to get your data. And if your logic board doesn't work, we'll be able to fix it to get your data. All right, so now this is what's inside your iPhone 12 Pro. It's a lot of different things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap over to Julie's destroyed phone where I really can't get into trouble, because I'd like to save this housing, right? This is going to be my charge port and battery in order to recover her data. So I don't want to mess this one up. So let's put this one to the side. And now let's see what we can do to get Julie's board out intact now that we know a little bit about it. Sad, sad, sad. Uh-oh. Her board is a little bit beat up over here. Hopefully it's okay. I'm rooting for you, Julie. Let's see, can we just lift this sucker out? Is it this thing? What's the mystery problem? Is it this guy? Let's look under the microscope. Something's going on in there that I need to figure out. All right, so when I wiggle this and say, come on out. Oh my God, you can see like the grass. What is that? What that is? All right, so this, wow, look at this, it's crazy. Whatever this flex in is taped on top of the board. So you gotta, geez, man, you gotta untape this sucker. Is that the only thing holding that thing in there? Let's see. Wow. Woo! All right, I just had to stop and actually make a live stream about the utter ridiculousness. So I think I know what's going on now. So I was wrong earlier with the board that we took out from Julie's phone, where I said that it looked like this little flex. It looked to me like this little flex went like that. You know, I thought it was just this, and then it wrapped around, and that it had been cut in the lawnmower. But it turns out that this guy is completely unrelated to the one that's soldered onto the board there. So hopefully it's not too much of a problem for making this video, but let's review. This, what appears to be the 5G antenna, is soldered to the bottom of the board. This is Julie's board. But where does it go? We don't know. So now looking at the board that we're trying to remove, we can see, all right, once we got past this troll, where here's the little flex that you got to peel the sticker to get to, that we ended up here. That guy's fine. This guy's fine. But the soldered onto the board, the 5G antenna one, is right there. So where does it go? It goes down here, goes down here, it goes down here. I had to get rid of some adhesive in here in order to get it out, because this guy's got to come out with the board. There's no way that I can desolder it, right? It's, you know, it's soldered on deep under the board here. So I can't just desolder it. It's the only other choice is it's coming out with the board, and I have to get it unattached at the other end, wherever that may be. So it goes around the corner, comes down here, and it looks like this flex is now screwed into the board. Great. So I have to get rid of that screw. Well, how can I do that? I can't just shove a screwdriver in there and try to turn it. I'm not going to be able to do that in order to release this without taking the whole battery out. This is some crazy BS. I mean, this is insane. This is awful, awful, terrible design that I just cannot imagine that we have allowed this to happen as all of humanity. That the primary phone, the best-selling phone, today's modern phone, is designed in a way that is so unfriendly to repair. They've gone beyond trying to make it difficult to repair, maybe, but this is almost intentionally impossible to fix logic board problems. I mean, this is insane. So where are we now? I'm going to have to take the battery out just to be able to take the logic board out intact on the parts phone so that we can finally put Julie's board back in and see if it'll turn on. So let's go for it. All right, so we're gonna throw some here under the battery, and that is going to be stacking the odds in favor that taking the battery out will be easy. Be careful if you're doing something like using metal tweezers near this. All right, I gotta look under the microscope. This is just such mind-bogglingly terrible design. And of course, it's the kind of difficult same adhesive from the iPhone 10 and 10s series. Oh, is there another piece at the top? Yes, of course there is. All right, now we'll put our iPhone 12 battery to the side because we're gonna have to stick it back in there. What a pain, I can't believe it. All right, so now we can finally take a look and see, all right, let's unscrew the flex so that we can get the logic board out. Grrr, grrr. All right, so here's our guy coming down here, and we'll take out this bracket. This is crazy. Unbelievable. All right, we'll get a new tray for these guys. All right, so with that bracket out, is that all we need to do, or does it go to both sides? Yep, there we go. So just that one thing, and this looks like a place to disconnect. There we go, disconnect. That's insane. All right, so with that disconnected, now we can finally lift out the logic board. And here it comes out. And there it is. And let's look at it. Crazy. Look at that. There you go, folks. That is your iPhone 12 Pro working, nothing wrong with it, logic board. That may be, this may be the most ridiculous logic board I've seen in an iPhone ever. Crazy. All right. Okay. So now we got to fix the board. And how are we going to do that? Here's the board. We are going to do what we always do. We're going to see whether or not there's a short circuit. So I just measured this, and there is a short to ground on right there, 0, 0, 0 in diode mode. This side is ground, this side is our main power rail. So that is short to ground right now, but we don't know why. Now the iPhone 12 Pro is yet another split board design. So the short could be anywhere on the top of the board or on the bottom side of the top board, or it could be on the bottom board. We don't know. Now, because Julie said that it was showing signs of life through all the chewed up pieces, I wonder whether or not the short circuit is something that happened from taking it out. And the only real problem that we had here was just sort of probing around on what this thing is. So we've got, you know, maybe there's something touching ground right there. So what we're going to do first is we're going to attach the squid with the 12 Pro connector and look for signs of heat. All right, so 12 Pro, connect it right like this. All right, to the DC power supply, and we're going to grab the trusty old iPad Rehab Seek Compact Pro with our macro lens, and let's get that going. All right, so we're going to look here and see what is getting hot. So that's just the flex. I'm going to cover that up because the thin wire in the actual flex from the DC power into the squid, that can't possibly be it. So let's see, where's the next hottest spot? So it's hot kind of up here, and now let's flip it over. Ah, there we go. That's our terrible 5G antenna that we hate. Yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and desolder that. So it sounds like in taking the board off, that flex has bent and torn, and now we must have ground touching the main power rail right there in the flex. Let's take that flex off, that torn flex off, and see if that makes our short circuit go away. There we go. Now let's check and see, did that make our short circuit go away? All right, multimeter says diode mode, red probe on ground. Aha, 0.286. Sounds like could be good to go. So let's go ahead and put it back together and see whether or not we can get Julie's board to boot up. Show me an Apple logo. Come on. Yay! All right, let's see if it'll boot up. And we'll see if we can make Julie's day. She is going to be thrilled to get this stuff off of the phone and onto a USB so that she doesn't have to worry about her memories being trapped inside this phone. Yay! Awesome! Oh, she's gonna be so happy. Yes. Oh, perfect, perfect, perfect. There we go. We have a path to data. We're going to be able to get back all of those memories for Julie. She is going to be thrilled to get those pictures of her dad and her daughter's first words. Screw you, battery message. She is going to be thrilled. And thank you so much, Julie, for giving us permission to YouTube your repair for video. I think that it's going to help a lot of people understand how to work with the iPhone 12 Pro and its special challenges. So thanks, we appreciate it, and that's it for this time. See you on the next video.